it's Jenny with Planner Perfect, and I am back with another video from the series Life Scripted. And today we're going to talk about the disciplines of a beautiful woman. Stay tuned. Welcome back, girls. In the last video of this series, Life Scripted, we're going to talk about the disciplines of the beautiful woman. I coined it off of the book that my mom loved and was inspired by Anne Ortland. And it's a really beautiful book. And she talks about just the disciplines of a beautiful woman and how she behaves and her disciplines. And that's very, very important. Within that, we're going to also be talking about how you can take the time for yourself. If you are a mama in particular with littles, or if you've really got a lot of things going on, how do you even take the time to be introspective enough to dream big and dream larger than where you're at right now? Okay, so let's go ahead and just dive right in. If you're new, I am a homeschooling mom of 8. And I'm founder of Planner Perfect, and I coach women how to write a better story for their lives. I'm also an artist, and I've created planners and journals and a unique planning method that help women write a better story for their lives and achieve their goals and to dream bigger and to live their life with intention. So let's talk about the disciplines of a beautiful woman. It goes, of course, below the surface of outward beauty. We're talking about how a woman behaves and her disciplines, okay? So throughout this series, we've talked about several different points about how that would, the disciplines of a beautiful woman. But this one in particular, we're going to be kind of honing in on how a woman can care for herself and know and use her gifts and talents and to dream big, even within the role that she's in. Now, especially motherhood. And within motherhood, we can get real busy, really big into the day-to-day, and we can even buckle from underneath it. It can be so overwhelming that we really just kind of even give up on doing motherhood well. We're just surviving and we're not thriving. So I talked about that in my last video. So we want to make sure that we are changing, having a mind shift and a change so that we can care for the small things behind closed doors, our role as mom, the role of whatever you're playing. It's the small things that really matter, because God will honor that. And if we can do great with the small things, then he can count on us to do that as well with the big things. So we really can't be promoted, if you will, until we can really master the small things, how we care for the home, how we fold our laundry, how we feed our families, that kind of a thing on a day-to-day basis and as a whole. So we talked about that. Now, I am a mom of 8, like I've said, and halfway through was when I really was like, you know, after my 4th baby, you know, it's like a perpetual Groundhog's Day. And I cried out to God thinking, is there more to me to this? And as much as I absolutely love being a mother and I love staying at home, I love homeschooling, I love everything about all of it. But there is a loneliness and an emptiness that can come about if you are not understanding who you are in Christ and who you are, which is really who you are outside of being a mother, so outside of your role. So I've had some questions and about how, you know, you go about doing that when you are really, really busy. And this then ties back into the disciplines of a beautiful woman and what a woman does to be able to care for herself. And that way she comes from a place of overflow where she can give to her children and her family from a place of overflow rather than from a place of just being empty, dragged out, and they're barely getting anything. because she could barely even do it for herself. So we want to flip this around where you are caring for yourself first. It's kind of like the breathing bag in an airplane where you got to give yourself the oxygen first so you can be coherent enough to help other people. It's kind of like that. And what you're doing is you are setting disciplines around what you're going to do in those times where you can get away by yourself within the home or wherever you want to go, so that you can care for your well-being, your spiritual health, your mental health, and even your physical health. So all of this is important. And one of the reasons why it's really important is because you want to be an inspiration. Your life should be an inspiration to those around you on how to live. You know, you don't want to always be coming from a preaching point, and moms are notorious for just do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, but a lot of times we don't even do it ourselves. So it's a matter of caring. It reminds me of the movie Kicking and Screaming. Have you guys ever seen it? When he's like, you know, na 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 from the sidelines, Will Ferrell's character, he said how he could eat a whole sleeve of Oreos, a whole box of them or something, that he couldn't because he's a fart-faced kid. That's hilarious, okay? But anyway, my point is a lot of times we just kind of say things without doing it ourselves because of just the fact that we've got this mom status. But we really want to come from a point of being an inspiration and an example to our family and our children of what it looks like for us to taking time to get into the Word, taking time to care for ourselves, taking time to use our talents, taking time to be organized and energized. And so when I had, I do care for my 2 grandbabies, 3 and 1, about 3 to 4 times out of the week and full time. And so I feel like I always have babies somewheres, you know what I mean? So my youngest is actually 7. My oldest, Abby, who's given me the grandbabies, she is, I think she's 28. But anyways, you know, 7 is my youngest. And so now I've got these babies under feet during the week, and I absolutely love it. So, but what I do is the disciplines of a beautiful woman means, what are you going to do? And when can you take time out to care for yourself? Now, you're going to want to have it be and choreograph that around your life and how it's happening and what's going on in your life. So for me, it was always rising early. And back then, even when you know, after my 4th baby, I did it more at night, actually. I would lay my last baby down and I would get back up, and then I would paint, write on a Planner Perfect. I'd do my Planner Perfect blog. I would blog for Planner Perfect. I also had a Homeschooling Bell blog. I know I still have some fans from way back when, so shout out to you if you remember that blog. I loved sharing our experiences with unschooling and parenting and things like that. So I was just so eager and excited. And that's one of the great things about understanding who you are outside the role that you do play, is because you get a new vigor about you. You get this unfounded energy, and you become so full of joy in the knowing that, you know, hey, I am somebody. Okay, no, God's given us our own set of gifts and talents. He's also picked you to be here in this earth, and he has a plan for you. Jeremiah 29:11, for he has a plans for you. He already knows everything that's happening, going to happen, everything, and he's got everything lined up for you that you would ever need to fulfill his plan that he has for you. So you are going to want to make sure that first and foremost that you're going to him, just diving into the scriptures and finding out what his will is so that you can live within his will. Because when you're living by his plan, it's going to be far greater than what you could ever be planning. So it's taking the time to get filled up with his have a relationship with him, and have that, get into the Word and have your prayer time. It's just so vital and important. It's something that we need to do daily, several times a day. I also have another course that I'm working on. If you don't know, I have other courses that I do have. They're Project Me courses, and you can catch those on my website. But I have a new one that I'm launching this year, and I'm really, really excited about it. And I think you girls are going to really, really benefit from it. So stay tuned for that. So set the disciplines around how you want, get your goal pages out for April. And if you're new to me and you don't have my planners yet, then get out a scratch piece of paper and start writing out what you can do and when you can find a pocket full of time that you can devote to getting into the Word, having devotions, prayer time, because without prayer, nothing's going to move. And then you're going to really get into dreaming big. So you want to be able to dream big, and you want to dream bigger than what you're capable of doing, because God doesn't fit into the facets of what you can do yourself. So like showering and taking care of the home, maybe making some dinner. You want to really start dreaming outside your scope. I mean, what do you really, really, really want and big that you have no idea how any of that would ever come to pass? This is where faith comes in, and this is where you're dreaming bigger. And what I love to do is also dive into, and it's important that you also dive into scripture that pertains to your desires, so that when you go to petition God with these and to pray about them, you have his word to back it up, and you know that it's within his will. So a concordance is really great for that. So whether it be health, adventure, material things, things that you might need, financial needs, all of that. So begin to really just really think big and write it all down. So we're going to be going into what you really love to do. So what you really love to do, what you're naturally good at, how can you do more of it interwoven with your family? Now, someone had asked me, actually I get this question quite a bit. How do you do so much? And what are you doing to even accomplish this? Is crazy, because I set priorities on what I want. So number one, you have to know what you want. Okay, so I always say it, I just got to beat it home again. If you don't know what you want, then you're never gonna achieve anything. So you have to really break it down to like the very most least common denominator. Like maybe it's like, well, geez, I wish I had time to just look good for once, or even just get in the shower. Well, what I would do, let me tell you, I had 8 kids and I looked like this the whole time, okay? Because you know why? I set it as a priority. Sometimes when babies were little, I shower at night, so all I had to do was maybe throw my hair in a really beautiful bun and put some mascara on, a little bit of gloss. I was ready. I didn't go through, like I was going to be in a pageant. I just made sure I felt good. I made sure I cared about myself, that the way I looked was speaking about how I felt about myself. And so I wanted my children to even understand that how I looked was a representation of how I feel about me, my life, and the things I do, okay? And everything I did it well, and I cared about it, and it was intentional. And so I would get up early sometimes, and then sometimes when kids would get a little bit bigger, or when I was pregnant and I had some that were bigger, I was able to get up early and shower and be all ready for them when they got up, and that was a season, and then that would fall again once a newborn came. But that is what you do, is that you're always being introspective about your life. You're diving into the fresh sheets of your planner, and you're like, where am I at now, and what season am I in now? And you're going to find that you're going to become a very good choreographer. It's just, where can I put my pockets of me? I've also slung babies on my back, and I've painted until they fall asleep. I have painted, and while they're doing some school lessons or something like that, I have also used my talents within my motherhood. I used to paint and hand draw every birthday card because I wanted to. because I'm naturally bent that way. So I was like, I'm going to paint the birthday cards this year. I wouldn't even print them. I just painted every single one. And so I would paint, I had my tongue out, and it was so much fun, and it had intention behind it. And it was something I wanted to do. It was for my child's birthday party, and I wanted everything to be 100%. And so whatever you're good at, use it, interwove it. It's a motherhood, again, like I said, is a perfect platform to really discover who you are and what you're good at and what your talents are, because you'll start to see what you're kind of good at. And I've always known I loved painting since I was 5, but that's when God said to me, when after the 4th baby, he said, write a book, begin Planner Perfect, start writing, start blogs, and begin painting. I mean, it was step by step. I woke up my husband in the middle of the night to tell him that God gave me a download. And he's like, okay, can you tell me in the morning? And then I'll take you to the bookstore and get all the supplies you need, but just wait till morning. I'm like, okay. It was like 3 a.m. But that was where the first download of that was just like explosive to me, because it changed my whole motherhood, and it changed my life, because my Planner Perfect became a business for me, which I never ever thought would have been. I just really blogged and ministered to women that way, and God shown me it bigger and broadened me as I kept going. Step by step, he just kept broadening me and giving me more and giving me more. And it's been really beautiful and amazing and almost like a miracle. You go back and you watch how God moves when you just are using the talents that he gives you. And the Bible talks about talents and how he gives someone some talents and a few over here and over here, but they didn't use them. God wants us to use our talents, and he equips us with them so that we can share it with the world and we can glorify him. And it's just by using them, and it's for us, it's for our pleasure and for our fun, and we're naturally bent. I mean, it's something where you're good and you don't even got to take any lessons for it. It's just something that you love to do and you're naturally bent. And how amazing is that? It's like everything that he gave you for that, you're already equipped. And so each one of us has something that we're already equipped to do that's really simple and easy. And so I did that. In everything I did, I used my art. In everything I did, I baked and went 100%, went over. I was like, oh, let's have a sleepover with all your friends. And then I'm going to bake homemade donuts. And then for the breakfast. And then for dinner, though, let's do homemade pizzas on my pizza stone. I mean, I just was going bananas because I love being in the kitchen, and it's creative, kind of a creative outlet for me. And I also love doing that. I also loved writing and blogging, and I also would go and speak. I would shamelessly even ask different homeschool groups, hey, I really want to teach women how to plan their lives using this method. I think it'd be really valuable. And pretty soon a mouth went around, and I was speaking in different circuits here in Omaha, Nebraska, and it was really kind of fun. So I definitely, and it was very fearful for me, but I did it. It was just like, I knew I had to get out there and do it because I just had so much to say. And you can do that too. We all are given things that we are to utilize and use. You don't want to have to use and wait till your children are gone to use them. You want to use them now. And you want to know who you are outside of the role so that you don't have some sort of identity crisis when the children leave, which a lot of women fall into. There is another bracket of women that become bored when the children leave and they don't have nothing to do. We're going to talk about that again in another video. I think it's very important to talk about it. You guys should be very, very busy and living very fruitful lives. We're going to talk about that specifically. If there is something you want me to do a video specifically on for your need, let me know down below, and I would love to be able to help, and I'll see if I can help you. So being almost 50, I've really have come to learn that, wow, it's been really amazing for me to be able to use my talents and move and do what I love while being a mom. And it's been one of the greatest gifts that God's shown me to do. And that's why I love to shout it out from the rooftops to women. Use your talents, use your gifts, and create something around it. And use your gifts within your home, and then get outside your home and use it outside your home too. Everyone has something to share and something to give. And and you'll find that it gives you a whole new energized view of your role as mother. I mean, you begin to be like, woo, I couldn't wait to get up in the morning. I began, and it's still a dream that is one of mine, is being an illustrator for children's books, and even a writer and illustrator for children's books. And that's something that's still out there for me. But it's like I would get up and I would start sketching different ideas of what I wanted for books. I mean, I was just going crazy with just all of these things that I wanted to try. And I always implored my children to do the same. They're like, you know, I want to try this, or I want to try that, or all of this kind of fun stuff. It's just watching them dabble in different things to see where they land. And that's kind of what I was doing. I was just trying all these different things. So if you find that you're really busy, or you've got a baby that's really too little, you go at your pace. You don't. There is no hurry here. And God knows when you give him you and you give him your first, then he, you know, when the time is right, he can leap you. You know, there is no time with God in the spirit realm. There's no time. Only we're here down in time. But to him, he can do suddenlies and big leaps. So when you are ready and you are doing these small baby steps of just loving on your family, because that is also honorable and amazing. But to go out and beyond that, begin dreaming big, seeing where he can take you, choreographing your days, finding pockets of time where you can do things that you love, where your babies are at your feet. I always just did it with babies all around me. They were always around me. They're still always around me. I mean, I have grandbabies all over the place. They're crawling, being naughty, going up the stairs, throwing, you know, Grammy's favorite, trying to get my vases. It's just, but I'm baking bread and I'm kneading dough, and I'm doing Zoom calls for my business. And but I choreograph, okay, nap time's then, Zoom call here. Up at this time, because my kids and my family's still asleep. Make the pancakes at this time. It's just choreographing your whole day to fit in. And I always shoot for the stars. And, you know, if I'm shooting for the moon and when I land in the stars, I'm still just full of happy. You know what I mean? And then anything that doesn't get done, I just move it over to the next day. But it's understanding the importance of doing you outside of motherhood. I love Sinbad the comedian. I don't know if you know who he is. A lot of people don't, but he is absolutely hilarious. And I remember he was talking about being a dad. He was like, you know, I used to be cool. You know, I used to be somebody. Now I'm all, you know, I just nothing right now. I feel like I'm just a bunch of nothing. Just, you know, and I just thought that, so many of us can identify with that. It's like, you know, I used to be cool. You know, I used to be somebody. So it's time to get back to that, and knowing that there is a you outside of being mom. So there's a Jenny outside of being mama. And my children see me in the Bible. My children see me, and they know if I'm going to go in my room and shut the door, they know that, you know, I've got my time. My children see me paint. My children see me do different active things, and they see me living as me outside of being their mother. And that is important as well. It's very, very important. So many women, I've talked to thousands. I've talked to thousands where, whether through social media, through when I've spoken and did some speeches somewhere where I've, you know, through different platforms, and they're just like, you know, my kids are gone and I have no clue who I am, and the highlight of my day, or even at soccer games, women will say something to me because they find out what I do and all that, and they'll be like, yeah, the highlight of my day is just getting groceries once a week with my husband. I really have nothing else going on. And I'm like, yeah, this is a problem. This is a problem. And that's why you know, we've got where we're mamas and we're so into the role that we don't know who we are outside of it. And then we've got to another season where, you know, we're bored. We don't even know what to do, because we have had an identity crisis. And so discovering who we are again is not even thought of, actually. I find that that's not even an option. So, but I can't wait to share with you again. And I do have other videos on that because on if you're in the stage or season where you might have some identity crisis, it's important to understand that it's never too late and you can dive right into your life right now and discover who you are and use your gifts and talents, and God's going to give you leaps and bounds and suddenlies, and you're going to be leaping forward, and you can just trust God for that and pray over that. And he'll honor that. And so when you give yourself to him, and when you get back to, oh God, how, helpful, show me what's next for me. What am I good at? Show me what I should pursue and do, and begin to just take action and find some things that, maybe you might love to do again, or remembering that, I do love to write. Maybe I could write a book, or what can I do to serve? Or maybe I'm a teacher maybe I want to teach women something off of what I've learned, or whatever. It's so unique and so personable to every single one of us, and every single one of us have unique gifts and talents. So this was speaking about, specifically today, about the disciplines of a beautiful woman and how she rises early and she cares for herself and she gives God her firsts, and she's praying and she's taking the time to set intentions, and she's in her planner and she knows the whole scope of her day of how she's going to serve her family and serve the world. And she's filled up first, so she's on overflow. She's on top of things. The laundry's in, the dishes were cleaned last night. She knows what she's doing for breakfast. And that's the default mode of the beautiful woman. Of course. And then when I say that, it means that even if you have blips where it doesn't happen, you know who you are and how you always act and do. And so when things fall out of place once in a while, then that's okay, because you have in your arsenal, in your tool belt, you've got the tools that you know to get back in the game. I mean, that's truly the key. It's not really even the actions that it's everyday perfection. It's that you know who you are, so that if a day doesn't work out, you ain't crumbled, because you know who you are, and you just get back in. You get back in the game, you get back in the saddle, you're back going. You don't give up, tossing the towel, and say I'm a loser. You know who you are, and so you know all the tools you need. You've got them. You know what to do. You know what you got to do. You have the disciplines. You are disciplined. You know what to do. And that's where I want to get you to, is to establish your disciplines. When do you want to do this? Maybe it's nighttime for you at this season. Maybe it's in the early morning. Maybe it's during nap time. But you need to create the disciplines, because if you don't, then you'll get swept up into victim mode, and it's easy to do, and you'll think, ugh, there's no one I can't do this. I used to do that when I was early in my marriage. I used to blame my husband for absolutely everything. Like, when am I supposed to work out? When am I supposed to have a free time? I am swamped. All the babies are around me. I used to cry all the time. When I had my first 3, all I did was cry. I was just like, I have no friends. I mean, I was a basket case. And that's when I remember I just was like, you know what? I have to begin to take responsibility and set the disciplines for my life, or you can't blame or look at or point at anything else. You are truly the creator of your life, and it starts with knowing what you need, knowing what you want, and then begin to orchestrate and write that life and become that you want to have happen. And you can do it as a stay-at-home mom. I mean, you don't have to leave the home to then think you got to go find yourself. That's not, you could be home. If you're a stay-at-home mother, it's the highest calling in the world. If you decide to do that, don't feel like you've got to leave the home to do it. You choreograph and you find and interweave yourself pockets of time that you could do. I would nurse and read the Bible. I would nurse and sketch. I would find every possible time for me all of the time. And I felt always, because I knew who I was, because I knew what I loved to do, because God showed me all of the ways and things I could use what I was good at. I mean, it was just a matter of finding those whole pockets of time that I could go and scurry and go and do it. And so I would always have it mapped, and then I would always be spontaneous with it as well. So if a baby interrupted me, I had no problem, you know, let's nurse and kiss, and I would just do me around the baby or put the baby on me and paint. I mean, I always just worked around. I also made sure that when teenagers were around and all of that, we always lived a less harried life. I pulled my kids out of they could be in one activity. I made sure that it was something that I was able to do, or that my husband could help, or an older child could help drive. Because I didn't want to do anything halfway and be, you know, because I've done that before, whereas, you know, have all the kids everywhere. I'm crazed. I'm in a bad mood. There's no dinner, and our life was nuts. For what? A soccer game? No, thank you. Okay. So, unless they had dreams of being a soccer star, which none of them had, I am not going to waste my whole every day of my life all summer to be frazzled, crazy, and have crying babies with me everywhere. So I always just made sure that, you know, maybe this isn't the season for you to play soccer. You can do it next year. That's just how it has to be. I mean, I always either made it work, eliminated, or did whatever, because our sanity, peace, and making sure that what we did do was 100%. So I always made sure I was living minimally so that I could do things very, very well. And that's how we lived, and that's how I still live. And so I do a lot, and I am very busy, but I choreograph it. I'm really good at it, and you can be too. So, girls, get in your planner, find those pockets of time. I look at my whole week, and I lick that pen. I'm like, okay, the babies come at this time. I can work around it this time. This is the time I don't have them. I'm going to do it over here. My babies wake up at this time. I'm going to exercise here. It's just a matter of working things around and doing. I'm going to have my baking day over here. I'm going to grocery shop over here. I'm going to do this over here. I'm going to have my husband do this and see if he can do this with me. It's just working through and choreographing things out, because I know what I want. I know what I want to accomplish. And so now it's the fun part. It's making it happen. That's what it is. And then I've got my big, huge goals, my big, huge dreams that I give to God and pray over and thank God for them every day, because I know He's going to reveal to me, just like He's been faithful to do with all my dreams and goals, where He comes in and He gives and shows me and reveals to me what's next. And He's going to do the same for you. So girls, that's what I have for you today. I hope that that's inspired you to know that you're never too, it's never too late. There's always possibility for finding time, but you must find the time to create disciplines, because it's important to create disciplines, because you need to create disciplines of the beautiful woman that cares for herself and does things with intention and does things well. So until next time we're together, guys,